Hey guys, Chris here from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to part 20 of the Great Clean. Yes, we're up to 20. Firstly, the updates on the property. It is now Tuesday and on Thursday is the auction date. It's going to be online. I still haven't worked out if I can actually film it or not, but I'll certainly give you an update of what's going on. And as you're watching this, it will be Thursday. So we're finding out what's going to happen and how much pressure I'm going to be under for the next few months. I'll certainly put the results on my community tab. I'll put a post up there as soon as I know what's happened. But the next episode, episode 21 of The Great Clean, I'll explain the current happenings. So anyway, for this episode, let's have a walk around the yard first and we'll see what we're going to do next. Okay, let's just walk around the yard. Hopefully you notice a bit of a difference and we'll have a chat about things we see as we go. I've just been into my precious metal storage shed and I'm sorting out some stuff to take on the next load, and I am going to start loading the van today. I think I'll do electric motors as I've talked about, which I've got a stack over there behind or under the microwaves, and I've got lots of small motors in little tubs, so we should have at least a ton of electric motors. And I thought I might top the load off with some wire, some insulated wire, and I've got quite a few spare wheelie bins there, all full with wire. So we'll load them up. I'll do a separate video on that. I'll probably start that this afternoon, but you won't see that till next week. Not sure what day I'm going down yet. Anyway, this part of the yard looks a little messy because I'm dragging stuff out of the shed and organising things. I had kept a lot of printers. I was going to do a scrap out on some printers, but I can get them anytime. So they're just going to go to the transfer station just to declutter a bit. This pedestal drill I'm going to restore one day, that's been floating around my yard since I turned it up in an earlier episode. I will take that home. That will be a restoration project when I'm not under so much pressure here. Let's walk around, have a look at this space. Look at this, we could almost set up a cricket pitch here. It's really coming along nicely. Pretty happy with the progress. I'm spending time all over the place, like depending on the day. It's actually nice out today, so I'm doing a bit outside. We've had a bit of rain last week. They're forecasting more rain for this week, so when it rains I'm either in the shed or in the back of the shop sorting out things. So there's areas that have been cleaned all over the place, and gradually they'll all join up, hopefully. This is a worm test that I've had going, and I do have to do an update for this because it was I'll link it up above, but I put a whole lot of coffee grounds, shredded paper, and horse manure, I think, or cow manure maybe, and I filled that bin right up and I've just left it, and we're due for a final check and we'll uncover it shortly. So the link will be for the first episode of that if you want to go and have a look. Things are spreading out nicely here. There's a couple more or three more dryer bodies filled with pressing steel that I'll take down to the back lane. This little construction I made many years ago. In fact, I don't think I did a video on it, but I was building things out of pallets when my channel first started, and I made a little house, like a glass house. It had a glass roof, but unfortunately the window got smashed. I don't think anyone actually threw a washing machine at it, but I think that ended up there and the weight was a bit heavy and it broke the glass. But I just made that for growing strawberries to keep the birds off them, and a bit of a glass house kind of slightly warmer climate effect to extend the growing season. It worked quite well. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I can't really get it out of the yard at the moment, but once the yard's more clean I might put it on Facebook for free and someone can come and put it in their trailer and take it home and use it. We don't want it at our place. I've got too much going on there already. This is an electric copper. I believe they were originally for washing, but I know a lot of people use them for cooking up crayfish or yabbies. A lot of the earlier ones were cast iron and you actually lit a little fire underneath. But this being an electric one, I don't know. I don't think I can sell it. Well, I could sell it as it is, but the problem is I think the copper cylinder or the copper insert is going to be worth more than what I could actually get for it as a sort of, well, it's not quite antique, but as a vintage copper. So I have to make a decision on that, because I reckon if I was to put that in the shop could really only put 50 on it. It's not a very attractive one. It's quite rusty. I've seen a lot nicer ones with green enameled work and everything. So I'd struggle to get 50, but I think that copper insert's probably worth more than 50. So, and well, the lid's aluminium too. So I'll have to make a decision on that. There's another compost bin there that's pretty empty. I'll probably give these compost bins away when I get to the final stages of cleaning the yard out. I'm happy to help people out in that respect. This path's still quite narrow here, but I have got a washing machine I'm about to scrap out today, and there's a separate video on that. So that will be coming up probably, I think you'll see this one first. Well, you'll see this one next. This will be on Thursday. Let's have a quick look in the shed. Yes, this area is still pretty cluttered, but I have been working away here, stacking up lots of copper I'm finding. The shed is becoming more and more clear. I've actually even been able to use the broom and sweep the floor. That's been a long time since this shed has seen any broom action. Well, probably the broom action it has seen is me holding the end and trying to poke something with the handle because I can't get in here to reach. But it's actually been sweeping. So dragging a lot of stuff out of here, not much value, but stuff to put in the shop. You know, tubs of screws and bolts and things, getting a bit more scrap metal. So I'm going to sell off a lot of this stuff. There's no sense me keeping everything. I've got lots of assorted nuts and bolts and things at home. And my mindset is, same with these plumbing fittings over here. I'm just going to box them up and sell them. It's kind of false economy to save everything like this in case, you know, you might use one fitting over a course of 10 years and you might have, you know, you delve into your box of plumbing fittings and find the bit you need and be all excited because you saved yourself, you know, $5 or something. But I'm better off getting $10 in a sorted box of plumbing fittings, and then if I need one at home, just go and buy one. So I'm sort of rationalising what I'm keeping a bit more. There's certainly more stuff in here to sell. There's a bit more scrap metal to turn up. So we'll keep going in the shed, but I'm quite pleased to be able to get in here. I do come in here at nights. I've been back to the shop nearly every night lately, probably for the last 2 weeks, except for Christine's birthday. And we are going to go out sometime next week after we have the result of the auction, because hopefully the pressure will be off for a little bit, and just have a meal out, because we're both working quite hard. Christine's been working on her channel a lot, plus we have to keep our shops open. Okay, the grass is dying back there, all the weeds. I'm boxing up more stuff in this area, finding a bit more stainless steel, some old sinks which I'm scrapping up. There'll be another load to Melbourne at some stage. Nothing much has happened in this area. And the back lane doesn't look much clearer because I've got a lot of heavy steel in little drums ready to go, but I'm not actually going to do that stuff this trip, so it's kind of probably going to look much the same for a little while. I do need to start getting back in and emptying these big drums, but I've ran out of little ones at the moment. So this yard looks, well, this lane looks much the same as you last saw it, although I have got rid of some washing machines. And as I said, there's a video coming out very shortly on scrapping these heavy washing machines. A little bit of a fail because I tried to do one of these, and you can see what's left there, and I gave up. It wasn't worth the time, but we are going to do the more modern one we saw earlier. And yeah, so that video will be up very soon. They will basically go as they are for pressing steel, although I probably will rip the motors out of them. So that's what's up with the lane. Everything here that I don't want to fill up with water has lids on it because, as I said, they're forecasting more rain this week. This is a bit more open since we got rid of the pellets. So, yep, things are coming along. Okay, so I'm not sure what else I'm going to say in this video. We will probably keep it fairly short because I'll put out another one with the results of the auction and where we go from here. There's a poor green bucket which has been mauled by Coco. She comes here with me at nights and she runs around in the dark barking at things. I'm amazed she doesn't run into stuff. Maybe she does. Maybe that's the reason boxes have flat faces. They run into things all the time and there's no nerve endings there, so she doesn't mind. Bit of aluminium up there, so lots more to sort out still. But this is a washing machine I'm about to scrap out shortly. I found a few more copper tubs. Oh, yeah, I want to show you some more copper I found. Let's wander back here. Oh, a nice big cylinder there too. I might have pointed that out before. It's a really early, heavy, thick one, that one. But I found some copper that I'd stacked in little copper tanks, actually. Just over here behind my wheelie bins full of wire. And I've got more wire here in milk crates to go through and check. Some of it, I was stacking up this wire I reckon 15 years ago, before I even knew scrapyards would take it. I just thought, oh, you know, there's copper in it, I might strip it one day. And in here, that's a degaussing cable from a TV, so I will strip that. Really good copper in those. So there's even another stack behind the glass there. So I've got lots of wire to go. Look at this shed. We'll get into there one day. At the moment, you barely even throw 10 cents in. Back to what I was talking about. Look at these tubs of copper. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, with a nice mulch of leaves over the top. But I've stacked this up long ago, and little did I know when I was stacking these up like this that copper would be $10 plus a kilo in the future. So yeah, I'm not sure if you could say I was speculating or just put it aside and forgot about it, but it's turned out well. And I mentioned in one other video that the universe has been kind to me. When I have to clean up, the prices are at record high, so that's pretty nice. Okay, that'll do for the moment. I'll add a bit more to this video before we finish up when I think of something else exciting to show you. Well, not overly exciting, but I thought I'd finish this episode up with a quick look at a printer being scrapped. I mentioned earlier that I have a lot. There's a heap stacked on a shelf there. I was going to save them for a Deca scrap video, but really printers are so not worth it that I'm not even going to devote a video to it. Let's just have a quick look at this one. I knocked it apart this morning. It only took about 5 minutes. The trickiest thing with printers is to work out how the plastic covers come off, because there's usually secret clips and screws and all sorts of things. I ripped this one apart really quickly. The only really valuable bit is a mid-grade board, or I think you'd call it a peripheral board in the States, and they're quite tiny. So let's just drop that on the scales. 50 grams. Now, eWaste Ben, I think, was quoting $1.70 for mid-grade boards, and that's per kilo. So what, 100 grams would be 17 cents. 50 grams would be half of that, so 8.5 cents. Why would you try and take something apart? And that's the only real value. I know some people get excited about the cartridges having little gold contacts. I'm yet to see anyone prove that it's worthwhile. Little bit of tin. There's an electric motor, but they're so tiny, there's hardly any wire. In fact, most of the wire is this ribbon cable that weighs nothing. So even for 5 minutes work, we're talking cents, and then you have to get rid of the plastic. So I don't think there's any doubt about it. If you get printers dropped off for e-waste, or if you see them out in the streets, pick up the cord and walk away, because the cord is around about 100 grams. For that, I've chopped the plugs off. At $4 something a kilo, there's 40 cents. So that by far is the best value of a printer. Even the USB cords are going to be better value than ripping everything apart for a teeny little mid-grade board. That stuff weighs nothing, as I said. So printers, basically, well, actually, we've got one sitting on the scales here. The entire printer doesn't even weigh 4 kilograms. If that entire printer was a mid-grade board painted to look like a printer, and you could sell the whole lot for $1.70 a kilo, you're still only a bit over $5. So it gives you a bit of a guide as to whether something's worth scrapping. Weigh the entire item and have a guess at what your best value will be in there. And in most cases, it's going to be a board. Some of the boards are low-grade boards, are not even worth much. So don't even waste your time breaking into printers. If your yard will take them as shred, good luck to you, but they're 90% plastic. All I do with them is grab the cords and the rest of them, and there's a stack over there ready to go. The rest of them are going to the transfer station, and they'll be recycled in some form, but it certainly won't be me doing it. And just to finalise this episode here, we've decided to make a decision on this electric copper. I figured it wouldn't be far off $50 for scrap copper anyway, and it's much easier to do that rather than to try and get the spiders out of it and put a tag on it to sell. And then there's always the risk that it's electrically unsafe and someone gets themselves into trouble, and I'm not about to tag and test something like this. So we've scrapped it. I haven't quite finished. I'll just clean it up a bit. The cylinder is copper. It looks like it's kind of a nickel plated. The cover that went over the element is copper as well. The lid's aluminium, as you saw. The outlet is all, I think it's all brass. I'll check it because that pipe in the middle might be copper. It'll be worth cutting out. There's a really heavy cable and a little bit of wire. so the rest of it can just go for pressing steel. So we'll clean it up and weigh it and just see how far off $50 I was. The jury are back. Let's do the sums and see what it adds up to. So the copper cylinder came out, everything came apart really nicely because all the hardware was brass. So it was a breeze to take apart. That center section of the tap area was actually copper. It's chromed copper. The element is actually copper, quite thick copper as well. So even though it's got some insulation powder in it and an element wire, I think it would still pass as number 2 copper. The few other bits and pieces there, all number 2 copper. So let's weigh that because that's going to be our cash cow out of this. And we've got pretty much 4 kilos, slightly under, but then number 2 copper is paying just over $10 a kilo. So so let's work on 4 kilos at $10 is $40. So we're almost at our 50 with the copper. That's fantastic. Let's see what else we've got. I took the knob off the lid. Aluminium, about half a kilo at $2 a kilo. So there's $1. Let's write these down. We had number 2 copper, so $40. Aluminium, I think the lid was the only aluminium we had, is $1. We had some heavy cable. If I can balance this on the scales here, which is a bit tricky to do. I might scrunch that up and we'll put that on in a minute. Let's weigh the brass. It's actually quite a bit of brass. Stay on there. Okay, we have 700 grams, almost 3/4 of a kilo of brass at a bit over $8 a kilo. Let's call the brass $6. And let me just scrunch that wire up now. There we go, we've got about 1/4 kilo of insulated wire at about $4 a kilo, so there's $1. $1. We're almost at our 50, we're $48. And the bonus, I can still sell this. It's fairly stable on the legs. It's just basically an empty cylinder now, but someone's going to grow a plant in that, or who knows. It's got a nice little tag on it. I'll consider getting off, but I don't think I'll bother. So let's get $10 for that. That puts us to $58, and no worries about now trying to sell it as a complete item with the electrical issues and everything else. I can top up my scrap bins and that can go down the side lane. If we can't get $10 for that, there's something wrong. So there you go. The best thing about it too is it's something else out of the yard. So this will finish up this episode. Look at all this space. Luckily I haven't got that, what's that phobia where you have a fear of open spaces. It's actually great. I'm loving it. So thanks for watching, guys. We got through another episode. It's about to rain here soon, so I'm pleased I got all this finished. You will see this Thursday. I'll try and get it up earlier in the day, so the auction will be, I think, 4 o'clock this afternoon, Australian Eastern Standard Time. I have to go into real estate because they still haven't sent me a link for me to actually see the auction. So I've got to organise that. I don't know if I can show you. I'm still going to work that out because I really, even though I said in another episode I'd do it and then just say sorry, I have to be mindful of any legal repercussions putting something on YouTube for the world to see. So anyway, wish me luck. I don't know. I honestly don't really care. I think I'd like the building to sell for the owners. They're great landlords. They've been really good to me, and they're certainly not the bad guys in all this. I would be selling as well. I guess my thing is I just want plenty of time to clean up all this and not be under too much stress or too much pressure. But as far as the journey goes, I am loving it. I'm having a good time. I'm looking forward to the future. So on my community tab, I'll put a note as to what happened at the auction, and episode 21 of The Great Clean will talk about what actually did happen and where that leaves me and what we're going to do from then on. But The Great Clean will continue because it has to be done and I'm loving it. So thanks, guys. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.